Hồng Hán Nghĩa, born 1948, was a legendary figure in Hong Kong as criminal underworld, a Teotihuacan gangster-turned-businessman who earned the nickname the Underground Emperor. His life was a complex saga, from a bullied child to a ruthless triad boss, and ultimately, a devout Christian spreading a message of redemption. From a traumatic childhood to a fearsome gang leader, Hồng Hán Nghia's childhood in Teotihuacan shaped his arrogant and rebellious personality. Born into a family of warlords and landlords, his family often became the target of brutal struggle sessions during political upheavals. One of the most traumatic memories came at age 11, when he helplessly witnessed his mother being tortured. These horrors instilled in him a fierce drive to rise above his circumstances, making him aggressive, cold-blooded, and ready to settle disputes with his fists. After his family fled to Hong Kong, his wild nature intensified. Constantly expelled from schools for causing trouble, he soon fell in with the criminal underworld. At 14, he was formally inducted into the Triads, when he became a disciple of Big Fool, a senior figure in the 1-4K Triad. Despite being the son of a warlord, his father fully supported his choice, but gave him a stern warning. You must live with honor. Never be a coward. Never betray your brothers. If you bring shame to the family, it will break my heart forever. Nghĩa quickly distinguished himself through his sharp intelligence and strategic mind, far surpassing Big Fool, who relied mainly on brute strength. He earned the nickname Little Strategist and Young Tiger, becoming the tactical brain of his gang. His rise was solidified after a bloody showdown in the 1960s at To Kwa Wan, territory then controlled by the Shui Fong and Unlock gangs. Big Fool, accompanied by Nghĩa and Sifat, led a bold strike to reclaim a major piece of turf. Shui Fong retaliated fiercely, leading to a legendary gang war inside a restaurant. Surrounded by Shui Fong fighters, led by the infamous Immortal Gum, Gia's group was outnumbered but stood their ground. Gia's ferocity stunned everyone. Wielding 2 blades, he charged ahead and cut down enemies without mercy. This battle made him a household name in the underworld. Even veteran gangsters and Big Fool acknowledged him as a true blood-driven leader. At just 80, from there, Nghĩa expanded rapidly, commanding over 200 men and controlling much of Hong Kong's illicit operations. A decade at the peak of power, 1974 to 1984, fueled by immense profits from illegal enterprises. Gia's ambitions kept growing. He moved into the narcotics trade, a domain of staggering profits and extreme violence. To secure his position, he cleverly planted his people inside the Hong Kong police force, forging secret profit-sharing arrangements. This was during Hong Kong's most corrupt era, when many active or former police officers were members of 14,000. Nghĩa exploited this network to expand his criminal empire aggressively. He formed a 3-way alliance with Hal Q and the Ma Brothers to divide Hong Kong's drug market. When the police crackdown intensified in 1974, Hal was arrested and the Ma Brothers fled to Taiwan. Thanks to his deep connections and inside protection, Nghĩa remained untouched, ultimately monopolizing the city's drug trade. For the next decade, Gia's power grew to global proportions. He expanded operations into the Golden Triangle, parts of Europe, and partnered with infamous drug lord Canessa. He also manipulated international soccer matches for profit. His fortune became so vast that 10 men worked overnight counting cash until the banks opened each morning. Underworld figures dubbed him the godfather of Hong Kong's underworld. He lived in opulence. 4 wives, 8 celebrity and model girlfriends, and a lavish lifestyle that rivaled movie moguls. From prison to redemption at the height of his power, Nghĩa began to feel the weight of his sins, witnessing countless families destroyed by drugs, especially after the fall of Hal Q left him disillusioned. As Hong Kong's ICAC Independent Commission Against Corruption began cracking down, he decided to withdraw from drug trafficking in the 1980s and turned to investing in nightclubs and dance halls. However, in 1984, he was arrested on drug trafficking conspiracy charges and sentenced to 14 years in prison. Widely believed to be political retribution for displeasing senior British colonial officials. Even behind bars, Nghĩa maintained enormous influence. His intelligence and resourcefulness allowed him to improve prison conditions for fellow inmates, earning their loyalty. Upon his release in 1998, he wasted no time. He launched Asia's largest online gambling platform, manipulated sporting events, and opened casinos in Thailand and the Philippines, including one said to be the largest online casino in the world. He also mediated a heated dispute between Tycoon Lau, Fei Yihang, and 14K, Boss Wu, Tudong, a conflict tied to actress Rosamund Kwan. His successful intervention prevented a Triad civil war. At the same time, he owned Club 348, Asia's most luxurious nightclub, drawing thousands of patrons before it was shut down due to frequent violent incidents. Despite his business success, the underworld's shadows weighed heavily on him. His drug trafficking past haunted him, leading to severe depression and chronic insomnia. Even as he sat atop a massive fortune, a spiritual transformation, his turning point came unexpectedly when he met a priest who helped cure his insomnia. Gia began participating in social work, personally driving to visit and financially support families devastated by drugs. In 2008, as the 14K's power waned, Hồng Hán Nghĩa converted to Christianity, becoming a devout follower of Jesus Christ. He founded Victory Church, aiming to guide former Triad members toward a righteous path. He gave up his wealth, fame, and criminal power to become a preacher. He frequently spoke publicly about the destructive nature of gang life and drugs. He was especially dedicated to helping addicts reintegrate into society. One of his companies even hired only people with at least 5 years of prison experience, giving them a second chance. In his later years, Gia became compassionate, warm, and often smiling, a stark contrast to the feared gang lord of his youth. Hồng Hán Nghĩa passed away from cancer in June 2018. His funeral drew countless former Triad bros and gang affiliates who came to bid farewell to a legend. His final message to young people was clear and powerful. The era of the Triads is over. Don't join the underworld. It's a road that only leads to death. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're re-diving deep into the heart of Hong Kong's most enigmatic and densely packed urban legend, the Kowloon walled city. But we're not just talking about the city itself. We're focusing on one of its most fascinating figures, the man they called the Overlord of Kowloon, Song So Choi. Now, when you hear Overlord of Kowloon, you might picture a powerful gang leader or a mysterious tycoon ruling from the shadows. The reality is far more unique and, honestly, much more inspiring. Sang Soo Choi wasn't a crime boss. He was an artist, a calligrapher, a man with a singular, unshakable mission. For over 50 years, he claimed sovereignty over Kowloon, and his kingdom wasn't built with bricks and mortar, but with ink and a brush. Born in Guangdong in 1921, Sang moved to Hong Kong as a teenager. He worked as a laborer, a humble man in a bustling city, but everything changed when he was in his 30s. Sang claimed he discovered ancient documents revealing a shocking secret. His ancestors had been granted ownership of most of the land in Kowloon by the Chinese emperor long ago. To him, this wasn't just a historical footnote. It was his birthright. The British colonial government, in his eyes, had stolen his family's land. So, what does a dispossessed king do? He starts a campaign to reclaim his territory. But Sang didn't use lawyers or protests. He picked up a brush and ink and started writing. On lampposts, mailboxes, utility boxers, walls, and pillars, all across the city, his distinctive calligraphy began to appear. His messages were always similar. Declarations of his kingship, lists of his ancestors, condemnations of the Queen of England for occupying his land, and warnings to go back to your country. Imagine walking through the streets of Mongkok or Tsim Sha Tsui and seeing these bold, black characters everywhere. For decades, most people dismissed him. They saw an eccentric old man, perhaps a bit crazy, scribbling graffiti. The authorities would paint over his work, and the very next day, he'd be back, reclaiming his canvas with fresh ink. He was relentless. His legs were injured in an accident, forcing him to use crutches. But not even that could stop him. He would prop himself up, his crutches holding him steady, and continue his life's work. This went on for half a century. His graffiti became a part of Hong Kong's urban landscape. People started to recognize his unique style. His characters, though not classically perfect, had a raw energy, a powerful, almost childlike directness. He wasn't just tagging a wall. He was telling a story. His story, on the very streets he believed were his. He became a familiar sight, a local legend often seen with his 2 plastic bags of ink and brushes, shuffling through the city on his mission. Then, something incredible happened. The art world began to take notice. In the late 1990s, his work started to be seen not as vandalism, but as a unique form of street art, a powerful expression of identity and protest. Art critics and curators were fascinated. Here was a man who, without any formal training or connection to the art scene, had created an entire body of work that was deeply personal, yet incredibly public. His calligraphy was featured in art exhibitions, including the prestigious Venice Biennale in 2003. Suddenly, the crazy old man was an internationally recognized artist. His work became sought after. Fashion designers incorporated his calligraphy into their collections. Advertisers paid him to use his style. The King of Kowloon had gone from a local eccentric to a cultural icon. His story resonated with so many people in Hong Kong, a story of persistence, of holding on to one's identity in a rapidly changing world, and of an individual speaking his truth against a powerful system. He was a symbol of the city's grassroots spirit. Sang Soo Choi passed away in 2007 at the age of 85. After his death, the government, which had once spent so much effort erasing his work, began to recognize its cultural value. Efforts were made to preserve the few remaining pieces of his street calligraphy. A piece on the seam, Sha Sui Sta Feri Pia Pilla, is now protected on the glass, a permanent monument to the man who declared himself its king. Other works have been carefully conserved, treated like the precious historical artifacts he always believed them to be. The story of the King of Kowloon is a beautiful paradox. Was he a delusional man obsessed with a fantasy, or a brilliant performance artist executing a 50-year-long masterpiece? Maybe he was both. He reminds us that art can be found in the most unexpected places, and that a single, determined voice can leave an indelible mark on a city's soul. He never got his land back, but in a way, he achieved something greater. He conquered the city not with power or wealth, but with creativity and an unwavering belief in himself. His kingdom wasn't on a map. It was in the hearts and minds of the people of Hong Kong. He truly became the one and only King of Kowloon. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the life of a true Hong Kong legend. It's a story that I find incredibly moving, and I hope you did too. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And do you want to forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration into the fascinating stories that shape our world. See you next time.